Are we run by fools and clowns? And why do I vote for fools and clowns?
What our forefathers died for and served this country to protect us from Nazi Germany. What was it all for? So yeah, it's difficult because I think people are just fed up, Nick. They really are.
And I think we've hit almost rock bottom. And I think that's why there's a change coming. You can feel it in the country. You can sense it in the air. I can smell change coming. And it's not because of one thing this Labour government's done or the 14 years of Tory incompetence. It's accumulation effect. And we've now got to a stage where most people now are unhappy with everything because nothing works in our country. The NHS doesn't work. The police service doesn't work anymore. Councils don't work. Councils are going bankrupt. We're paying more tax than ever and we're getting less and less services. We've got mass immigration changing our towns and cities. We've got foreigners coming into the country, murdering, raping, assaulting us, and then getting suspended sentences. We get serious criminals, foreign criminals in court to deport, and then we can't deport them because their children like chicken nuggets, and a chicken nuggets in another country are different. One didn't get deported yesterday or 2 days ago.
Was that the Jamaican guy, was it?
Because his criminal record is that bad. He'll be persecuted in Jamaica. We had a woman from the Congo who got rejected for asylum 8 times. And on the 8th time, she joined a illegal terrorist group in the Congo. So now she can't be deported to the Congo now because she's a member of a terrorist group in the Congo. And we're seeing these stories, and I'm saying, I know I've been looking at these for years, but everyone's now saying to themselves, are we idiots? Is this, are we run by fools and clowns? And why do I vote for fools and clowns? And you talked about violence. I spoke to a professor of King's College London last month. It's my second highest viewed video. He's a professor of war, and he's come to the conclusion we're going to have a civil war in the UK in the next 5 years. And it's already started. We just don't know it started. We talked about Islamic terrorism. We talked about the eco-green lunatics, and we talked about the Blade Runners chopping down surveillance in London. And he said it started. That's the beginning of it, and it's not going to be a civil war like we imagine a civil war. It's going to be more like the Troubles in Northern Ireland. Different groups will be killing each other, and retaliation bombings and tit for tat killings, and it's going to heavily affect our big towns and our cities, and it's going to divide around racial, ethnic lines. Extreme. It might not start like that, but he said once the violence comes, we're going to go back to our human nature, which is tribal, along racial ethnicity lines. Scary.
Yeah, well, everything that professor said, the precursors, Nate, for what is to come. And I tend to agree with him. My personal feelings are that we're heading down that road. And tribal, as you say, it's going to start in the inner cities, I think, and then spread out to the rural communities. You look at the farmers now, they're being attacked. And I think there is I've sensed it just, you get that feeling, you can smell that something's coming, 2030 maybe, when people are going to say, right, that's it, we've had enough. Our vote matters for nothing anymore. We got, what our forefathers died for and served this country to protect us from Nazi Germany. What was it all for? Because the democracy we're under is just simply not working for us as people, everyday ordinary people. Now, you get, of course, the elites and those multimillionaires who it doesn't really affect in the long term, but that's not a majority of the country, let's be honest. And I think we're going to see it as you've seen. We've seen all this kind of happen, and there's a sense of anger in people, and it's going to spill out because we're going to return this, as the professor mentioned. You mentioned on your previous show with him that, people, they return back to their roots. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me just think here. Right, this is wrong. So instead of like bending down and taking it up the proverbial, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I've had enough of it. This is going to stop. And we can use our soapboxes, and I think this is why podcasts like this are important, because it gives an alternative to mainstream media, so people can hear the alternative, because that's what people come to. Whether it's your Josh Rogans or yourself or there's loads of them out there. I don't go through all of them and plug them, but there are all these different broadcasts, the Land of Saints and Sinners as well. They're looking for alternatives, so they can say, what, he's right, she's right. Yeah, that's right, because we need to find each other, Nick. We need to find each other. We need to connect somehow. and some way, you know, we can be a voice for those voiceless people, for the forgotten majority. And I think there's the civil riots. We've seen some precursors, and I think a lot of that, in my opinion, is down to and I call it an invasion, to make no apologies for the invasion of Islam into our country, which has come as a result of illegal and legal immigration into this country. And I think what we're seeing is, you know, we've got Sharia courts in this country. We've got children as young as 12 being married, and this happens. I mean, we just turn a blind eye to it. You know, the Rotherham rape gangs and across the country, they've been covered up time and time again. You expose them like Tommy Robinson did, whatever people's views are on him. For a civil offence, he gets arrested. He's put in Belmarsh. He's put in whatever prison he's in. And he's in prison with terrorists, murderers and rapists for showing a video. I was there in London watching it. I mean, the day before they arrested him, and I was there, and like, Tommy'd been arrested the day before the protest. Or it wasn't a protest, actually. It was an expose of what was going on. I watched the whole video, and these were victims giving their story. And there was an embargo on him not to tell the story. You know, these they have a right to be heard. And I think